Welcome to Power Principles. My name is Peter Mueller and I have designed this Power Principle video series to share with you some valuable lessons for life. In part 1 of Power Principle number 1, which I called Time is More Valuable Than Money, we talked about general strategies and tactics in time and life management. In part 2, we talked about general organization and a cleanup of our Quadrant 3. And in part 3 of our video series, we talked about information management and our digital universe. Today, in part 4, we are going to focus on Quadrant 2 management, or the power of goals. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and you will get notifications whenever we have a new video about our Power Principle series. Just a brief review of the quadrants. We have 4 quadrants where we can slot all of our activities into. In Quadrant 1, the stress quadrant, Quadrant 2, the achievement quadrant, where we spend our time today. Then there is Quadrant 3, the devil's corner or devil's quadrant. We have been dealing with this quadrant in our series in part 2 and 3. And number 4, the waste quadrant. Number 4, we don't spend a lot of time on that one. Now, in part 2 and 3, we explained that the key shift we have to do in our time management is essentially a 40% shift of our time out of Quadrant 3 into Quadrant 2. Now, we have learned Quadrant 3 are all these distractions and the various kind of automatic behaviors we have to eliminate out of our daily routines because they suck up time and resources enormously. And the key shift then is to Quadrant 2. Now here is the problem. When we have eliminated all the Quadrant 3 activities or the majority of it, what are the Quadrant 2 activities? We have here our list where it says major goals and objectives at work and at home. The question is, how many people have longer term goals written down and know where they should actually spend their activity on? Who has written down in the office every day the 3 to 5 major projects people want to spend their time on? I would argue many people do not have written down clearly their long-term objectives and goals in business, in private, in hobby, and elsewhere. And here is the fundamental problem with Quadrant 2 management. Many people don't have clarity what they actually need to do to produce the important results in their private and in their professional life. Now, talking about goals, 95% of people don't set and achieve private and business goals. I know the argument, people will say, yes, I have my goals, I have them here up in my mind, but actually when you check in a time log how much time the people actually spent on these activities, the results are pretty shocking for most of us. And it's only 1% of the population who actually consistently set goals for themselves and achieves them. Achieving meaningful goals creates positive emotions of success and happiness, and that's what we actually want. And it's surprising to me that only few people actually set down goals in a written way and follow through in their daily activities. The fact of the matter is, everybody can set and achieve significant goals for all dimensions of life. Briefly looking at it, so we have the professional dimension, our job. And here we have the goals. We have a job description. We know we have certain skills and certain competencies where we can work on and improve. And we have certain targets we have to achieve where we have agreed with our boss to achieve certain things during the calendar or the business year. We have financial goals in the business and privately. Many people carry credit card balances and they make New Year's resolutions. I want to pay off my credit cards and want to save money and all of that. But a year passes and they stand at year end exactly where they started because they haven't set really clear financial goals for themselves, and therefore they are not achieving it. They don't change spending habits, they don't make changes in how they can make more money, for example, and so forth. When it comes to health and fitness, most people in January say, yes, I joined the fitness club, and on March they are back to square one and nothing happens on the health front. Mental, emotional, and spiritual dimension, few people really follow through on their commitment to start yoga and meditation practice to get a better emotional balance during the day. Now, I've talked about these goals, how important they are. I call them, they are the magnets for success. Now, how do we set goals, and what are the key qualities of goals which help us to live a successful and happy life, so to speak? And you heard it many times in management courses. Here we go again. Goals need to be SMART. S-M-A-R-T. S stands for specific, significant, and simple. The M stands for measurable, meaningful, and motivating. A for actionable and achievable. R stands for realistic, relevant, and reasonable. And T for time-bound and time-sensitive. And here we have the key criteria when we set goals. So in essence, we have to make simply a brainstorming with ourselves, sitting down in each of our dimensions of life, whether it is for the job, we can do it in the office, for our private, for our financial life, for health and fitness, and writing down some results we want to achieve, fulfilling these criteria: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. To make it easy for you, here are the 7 steps how to do that. Step number 1, clearly state the desired goal. And here I have some examples. For example, you might say, I want to do 50 push-ups in less than 1 minute. When you test yourself today, you might end up after 5 being exhausted and cannot do it. This statement is very clear. It says how many push-ups you want to do, within which time interval, and then you put a date on it, August 1st of this year or year end. The same with financial goals. I want to have $1,000 on my checking account by year end. Or on Christmas, I want to have paid off all my credit card debt. This is a bold statement, and it has to be clear, and it has to have a timeline in one sentence, and write it down and make it visible to you all the time. You can make little post-it notes, you can carry them on your cell phone and regularly review those goals for you. Now, they are very big and you might lose track when it is a little bit far away. So the first thing you have to do, you have to break the goal down in mini goals. So if it is 50 push-ups, so you say, when do I want to have 10 push-ups, when 20, when 30, when 50? You say, I want to have, every month I want to increase by 10, for example. The same with your credit card debt. You list how much credit card debt you have, and you say in 12 months I want to have it removed. You divide it by 12, and each month you set them a target. on how much you actually knock down your credit card debt and follow through. And that's the way to do it. So you break down the goal into mini goals that in all the time in between, you have certain steps that you can check on yourself, hold yourself accountable, and that the ultimate goal is not so big and insurmountable that you don't even start with it. You need small successes on the road, definitely. That's the way to go. And then for each of the sub goals, you simply set time. You set time limits for it. For example, when you go to college, you want to end up with a bachelor's degree in 4 years. So you know in the 8 semesters, in each semester, which exams you have to do and when the physical tests are, and you can write it down, and then you know in each semester that you are there, and not standing on one day saying, okay, I want to have a bachelor's degree in 4 years, let's see where I am. Most people don't have their bachelor's degree in 4 years because they never laid it out in detail and followed through. And step number 4, for each of the individual steps at a time, measure your progress and look that you achieved what you wanted to achieve in a given time frame. And to make it motivating for you, put some in between, some quick challenges for yourself to stretch yourself, give yourself a little boost in motivation to shoot for the stars on a short term. Physically, it is very easy. In the exercise program, you have some guys and girls around. When you talk about your fitness goals, you work with them together, leading me to step number 6. Actually, share your goals with the people in the groups you socialize with, keeping yourself accountable and motivated in the group achieving it. And step number 7, enjoy the process and the progress, because that's what we do anyway. We want to feel good in the process while we achieve our goals. To make it very simple, the cycle of achievement starts with defining very clear goals. Secondly, make specific plans. Third, execute on the plans, and then assess the results and recalibrate if you haven't achieved exactly what you want, and start the game again. So there is a goal, there is a thought process of planning, then is the massive action and execution of it, and then you will have the result. That's my take on goal setting, and I hope you will take it into your daily practice. The most important thing is that you really write them down, that you can have every day a clear view on it, what you want to achieve. As I say, every day you should have a post-it note with you for the 3 things you want to achieve every day, and they should be in line in achieving one of the larger goals and so forth. So every day you spend significant time on your longer term goals, quadrant 2 activity. That's how you fill the time in quadrant 2 and you achieve many significant results, and you don't waste your time in the devil's quadrant or in quadrant 3. That was for goal setting and quadrant 2 management. Now, there is still one little problem with it. For most of us, when we start the program like this, we find out relatively quickly that we fall into the trap of going back every day to quadrant 3. And one of the key problems is procrastination. That's what our next video is about. In part 5, we will talk about procrastination, what I call the silent killer. Please send us your comments. You have the email address below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and you will be notified whenever new videos are coming. Thank you for watching, and please share it with your friends.